Would you just like to introduce yourself
Yeah, sure. My name is
and what you do?
my name is Gary Booth, and I am founder of an organisation called Chequered Flag Motorsport. Chequered Flag Motorsport is a not-for-profit community interest company that I formally set up in June of 2020 to increase awareness around neurological conditions and to provide opportunities for rehabilitation and reintegration into society for people such affected.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So I'm just going to crack on with the questions.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
What made what made you want to create a company dedicated to those who have not been given the same opportunities as other people?
Even though Chequered Flag Motorsport was only established in June of 2020, the actual journey of what became Chequered Flag Motorsport actually goes back over 25 years ago. As 29 years ago, later this year, I suffered a hemorrhagic stroke myself. And my experiences through my recovery led to me losing my home, my marriage, my family, my career, and literally having to start again from scratch. And I felt there was an awful lot of experiences that I'd had over those 25 plus years that I could use to benefit others who were very frustrated at the way they were being advised, helped, informed, not only by the medical profession, but also by those who purported to be charities there to help people in such position. So that's why I originally wanted to set up what became Chequered Flag Motorsport.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know anything like that happened to you. So
no, that's fine,
so
Alicia.
Can anyone join in the activities? Is it like anyone broadly?
In broad terms, yes. In general terms, we do some activities that are obviously specifically geared to those with a neurological condition. And I don't, in this case, necessarily mean stroke survivors, because one of the things I found over my journey is there is an awful lot of commonality between all the people who have had neurological conditions. So that can be people, for example, who are on the autism spectrum. So they can have autism or any other ASD related condition. People with PTSD, I work with quite a lot of amputees because even though they have a physical disability, obviously the trauma that they suffer PTSD wise of having lost a limb, the symptoms and what they go through is very, very similar to what you go through neurologically as a stroke survivor. So all sorts of people with ADHD. So there's quite a wide range of people who become part of that community. Now, I'd say some of the activities we do were specifically geared to that community. So it can quite, for example, be a workshop which will share information, experiences. Now, for a member of the general public, that's not necessarily going to be of interest. It will be informative, but not necessarily of interest.
Yeah.
So I won't say there's no point in them coming. So it's not necessarily of interest for them to come and take part in that. Yet some of the other motorsport-based events that we do are available to the general public, and they're by all means welcome to come along.
Oh, brilliant. What fundraising events do you participate in? Because I saw on your website that you do a lot of fundraising and stuff. And could you tell us more about any upcoming events?
Yeah, that's changed quite a bit, Alicia, if I'm honest, purely and simply because when I first started Chequered Flag Motorsport, I started with the intention of fundraising for charities working in the neurological field. Yet what I found was, again, relating to my own experiences and things I was telling other people who were within part of this wider neurological community, that they were saying to me that they weren't getting the correct information, the right information, or the timely information from those other sources, be that the medical profession or be that the existing charity network. And they were asking me to provide that in many ways. So I moved away from being a fundraiser to being a provider of information and of an environment that people felt comfortable in, and started to create a community of my own. So I think I probably now have a community of my own made up of people with neurological conditions rather than fundraising for third parties. I do have two or three specific charities that I still work with that work in the neurological field, but I was getting approached by all sorts of charities, which I had to quickly realize that as much as I would like to, you can't help everybody all the time. So I had to very much trim back as to who I was going to help and why. And obviously from my own personal experience, again, that came back to the neurological community, which is who I seek to help. In terms of fundraising events going forward, as I say, I don't particularly do any massive fundraising events for the general charity community out there. We do have a formal fundraising dinner of our own later on this year, which will obviously be to fund our own events, because we don't get any funding to fund all the events that we hold. They have to be self-funding.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't say too much about where it's going to be and what it's going to be, but it's going to blow people's socks off. Is this fundraising event later this year?
Oh, I'd like to come along.
Well, when I get sorted, if you want the scoop, Alicia, I'll let you have the scoop. I'll let you have
Oh, please,
the
yeah, if you
scoop
don't
on that
mind.
one.
If you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Are you open to working with any other local charities, or just?
I'm always open to considering working with other charities, and I have found that the extent that Chequered Flag Motorsport has grown over the coming up for 2 years now that it's been going since starting it in June 2020. And here's an example, and I'm not going to name names, but I was approached by an A-list Hollywood celebrity
Wow.
a few months ago who wanted to look at doing joint events. And it became very apparent that even though this A-list celebrity had suffered a brain injury herself, so was essentially part of the community that I'm looking to support and represent, although she got it, she was literally just the face of her organisation, and it was her mother and other people who were behind it doing the day-to-day running. And they didn't get what Chequered Flag Motorsport was about at all. And all they wanted to do was use my contacts and how could I fundraise for them. And I had to very, very quickly say, that's not what it's about. I'm afraid I'm not here just to provide the contacts that I've worked hard building up, to pass them to you so as you can take them off me and so as you can raise funds. And I'm not here to raise funds for you. I've got my own, in a nice way, my own agenda, my own ideas, my own vision of what I want Chequered Flag Motorsport to do and who I want to help. And I can't do that if you're just raping and pillaging my ideas and my fundraisers. So I had to do that. So in general terms, yes, I'm more than happy to speak to any individual, charity, whoever. But I've, as I say, very recently become very, very aware that I need to be very, very careful about who I engage with and who I involve and who I work with.
Well, that's fair enough. Like, it's your company, so it is what it is. Do you have any colleagues that are experienced within certain fields to help the individuals with specific needs?
Colleagues is an interesting question, Alicia. Chequered Flag Motorsport is here in front of you. It is me by myself in many ways.
You.
It's me, yes. I am it. I do everything. I do have certain individuals who along the way have become very, very, not only good friends, but have become very, very good helpers. And they range from corporate organisations who provide services and help along the way. I also have individuals. I have a mindset coach who came on board, and she helps with all sorts of events that we do, providing obviously that support to individuals who come on our courses. So I do have specialists in certain fields, although not directly employed by or paid by Chequered Flag Motorsport. They will come on board and help out. They recognise the value in what I'm trying to do and who I'm helping. They see the feedback firsthand of what people are saying when they come onto our events. So they're happy to be involved.
Yeah, because I didn't know, because obviously you've mentioned about the ADHD and all that lot, the autism, and obviously they do need specific care, because for understanding.
Well, we have. I also made the decision very early. Well, very early. It was made for me actually. I was approached by somebody out of the blue that I was going to appoint 3 young ambassadors who were representative of the communities I was trying to represent.
Yeah.
So I have. From the karting arena, from the junior karting arena, I have a young boy called Callum, who's only 13, and he's autistic, and he's now probably been on 3 of our events. And only now on the last one that we did last week when we went to Red Bull Formula One, has he actually started talking to me after the 3rd event.
Oh, wow.
But it's about recognising
different needs
what he needs.
Yeah.
And part of that is the visual engagement that he needs. So to go to somewhere like Red Bull Formula One and see all the racing cars for somebody who's interested in motorsport, for him, although he didn't say much, his mother he's always there with him.
Yeah.
And she said, I know that it's, and he'll say the odd things to me like, that's the best day I've ever had. You know, and I don't need anything else. Callum, that's the only comment I need to hear from you. So yeah, it's about recognising what the different communities or the different individuals need, want, desire, and trying to meet that. And hopefully we can do that through the different sorts of events we put on. But as I say, I have Callum and others as young ambassadors who work very closely with Chequered Flag Motorsport, either promoting what we do out in their community whether that's the autistic community or whether that's the motorsport community or just generally.
Yeah. How, obviously you said that you started it in 2020, your business.
Yep.
Did COVID affect everything? Because obviously it started around 2020 anyway.
Yeah. Obviously, probably not the wisest move to start an events-based organisation in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, but it was something that I did. It obviously had an impact in terms of I couldn't go out and do events at that point. I think the first event I actually did, I think, was August 2020, when lockdown was all a bit airy-fairy.
Lifted, yeah.
So I think that was the first event I did, and probably the only event I did in that period of time. But what it enabled me to do, and while a lot of people were complaining about they can't do this, can't do that, can't do the other, as a relatively new organisation, what it gave me is it gave me the time and the fact that I had no pressure. I could build up a network, I could build up my contacts, and I did all that obviously using social media and all the other things that were available to us at that time, whether that was LinkedIn, whether that was face-to-face calls via Zoom, all that sort of stuff. So as when Boris and his cohort said, yes, that's fine now, people, you can go out and play, I was ready. I had already had a network there of contacts that I could tap into straight away and hit the ground running, rather than at that point thinking, oh, great, we can do something now. What am I going to do? Who am I going to speak to? I'd already done all that during lockdown.
Yeah. I suppose, like you said, though, it probably has helped quite a lot of businesses be able to actually focus on what's at hand rather than...
Yeah. I didn't feel under pressure, and had we not, if I said that lockdown helped, that probably sounds horrible, but had we not been in lockdown, I would have felt under pressure to go out and do events while trying to build up a network of contacts and everything else. Whereas because we were in that situation, obviously I didn't have the need, and I couldn't go out and do events, so I could focus all my energies on building the network and the contacts.
I feel like that's fair enough comment though to say, because in a way it has helped you, although obviously it's affected everybody else or whatever. It's fair enough comment to say that it's allowed you to have the time and the energy to put everything in. So obviously you have mentioned social media now at this point. Is social media a platform that you use to target your audience as well, or just gain contacts? And
I'm just going to say something here that I don't like the word target, because I don't particularly target individuals as part of the community. I'm out there, the organisation's out there, it's there to help people, it's not there for my financial gain. Hopefully if people are aware of it and they want to come and be part of it, what we do, that's great. But I don't particularly set out to target any particular individual from any particular community or with any particular condition. That's not what it's about. I will spit like I'm obviously doing this, and hopefully that will help to get some more word out of what we're doing. And if as a result of that, people want to come and approach me, whether that's to come and do events, or as I say, what I'm finding more now, I'm particularly getting approached more by stroke survivors because of my own experience of nearly 30 years, that they will be very interested in how I've coped and how I've managed to become the person that I am physically, and in particular in my case, how I cope mentally with the neurological impact of things like the fatigue, which drains me really, really badly. So it's not about me sitting and yes, I obviously use social media to get word out of what we're doing, but I don't do it in such a way that I'm targeting individuals or a particular audience. It's used to spread word about what we're doing, and if as a result of that people want to engage, then that's great. I will engage with them and try help them.
I feel like that's amazing though, because like you said, you don't want to target people, you just want to let them come to you if they need help.
It's just about letting people know that you're there if they feel they need help, that there's somewhere they can go, and it's somewhere different from, as I said, because there's so much feeling that the medical profession talks you in medical jargon that you don't understand, and the existing charities are frightened to tell you as it is because they're wanting to be and have to be a little bit more PC. And while I don't set out to be intentionally unpolitical correct in terms of harming somebody or upsetting somebody or being detrimental to somebody, I feel there's an awful lot of benefit in telling people the truth as it is going to be. Dressing it up as something it isn't and giving people false hope is no good. And that's what I am being told an awful lot of, and I know from my own experience, an awful lot of the charities do, particularly in the neurological field.
No, I completely understand that. Like, I've been through stuff myself where it's all like, yeah, you'll be fine, and
Yeah.
in the long run, it's not fine. So
I mean, one of the big things that stroke survivors in particular get told, Alicia, is there's all this discussion around when will I ever fully recover, and they'll pussyfoot around it. And the bottom line is, you will never fully recover. You've had a brain injury that's killed brain cells. Part of your brain has been damaged. You're not going to fully recover. Your brain cells don't rebuild the cells
no,
or replace the cells. What you've got to do is, first step is adapt, is accept that, and the second is to adapt to the new you, whatever that is, whether that's things physical or mental. And hopefully that's where Chequered Flag can sit in and start to provide you with opportunities to realise how we can make the best of the opportunities that are still there for you.
yeah. Thank you so much for that. I didn't know, like, so like you've opened my eyes a bit to like different companies and stuff that are willing to help, and obviously not sugarcoat things and stuff. So it's been a really big help, and I'm hoping it does get the word out, because I feel like a lot of people need it, because they don't ask for help in a way. Obviously your company's there. There to help.
So yes, when I sort my formal dinner for later in the year, it's provisionally booked for 25th of November. But because I'm still working on finalising some of the details, I can't tell you too much about it yet. But I'll make sure you get the scoop when it's all ready.
Thank you. Thanks for that again.
Is there anything else you want to ask me, Alicia, while you've got me on? I'm happy to.
No, I've pretty much done. That's all my questions.
Is that it?
Done, yeah.
Lovely.
That's everything.
No problem.
You're done. You're free to go and enjoy the sun.
Lovely. Well, enjoy your weekend, Alicia.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks a lot.